Guru Maharaj, you like to share a topic today? So I'm sorry, I don't know the topic today.
Yeah. Today, and then starting on Wednesday again, I'm going to approach the glories of Lord Narasimha as his appearance day is coming up in less than 2 weeks. So tomorrow we'll do Akshaya Tirtha, which is a very auspicious holy day. But today we'll do some prayers that are quite unknown to Lord Narasimha from Shani.
Okay. So do you like to share me any verse, Guru Maharaj, from these scriptures?
No, these are just a series of prayers that I'll just read from the prayers and then I'll comment.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, sure. Yeah. Thank you again.
These are very powerful prayers.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
I'll do share screen also.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. I'll make you whole. Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So these, Lord Narasimha, we'll give a little background, is the incarnation of the Lord who comes to protect the devotees, to destroy the demons, and there are beautiful prayers from the Bhagavatam glorifying. Today I'll read some prayers from Sri Sani Acharya Krita Sri Narasimha Stuti. It says here the prayers are found in the Acharya prayers. And it says the periodic reference nor the name of the translator is provided. You can hear it on YouTube, and there's a link here, but I'm not sure of the exact meter of these prayers. Something has come up on the screen. I don't know what it is.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj, you are trying to click on the link.
What is that? No, it says here, Zoom, leave meeting, cancel, enter your email. I don't know what that is. I try to exit out, but it doesn't go out.
Okay. But you are in the meeting, Guru Maharaj, so.
It says leave meeting or cancel. I hit cancel, nothing happened. And I try to hit it again.
Can you stop sharing the screen share and share it again, Guru Maharaj, if that might help?
Do what?
Stop screen sharing and share it again, Guru Maharaj. If it goes away, we'll see.
Yeah, because sometimes it happens.
All right, stop sharing. Now we're back to the main screen. Let's do a Bhagavatam verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, 5th Canto, 18th chapter, verse number 8.
8, okay.
8.
Okay, I'll pull it out.
It'll be easier for us to maneuver, I think.
Bhagavatam, Canto 5, 18th chapter.
8.
verse 8, right, Guru Maharaj?
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm going to share it on the screen.
Okay, go to the Sanskrit. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is a mantra. I'll chant the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Namaste Tejase Avir Bhava. Rajanaka Rajadamsta Tamasayan Radhaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayamapmaya Atmani Bhuyasta Om Shram. Translation. This is Prahlad Maharaj speaking. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsingadev, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses males and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Prabhupada's purport. Satkumar speaks the following words to Maharaj Prita. Yat pada pankajam pala vyalasa bhaktyam karma sayam grahitam uvatayati santa tavana viktam atayo yatayo pirudam srotanganastharanam bhaja vasudevam. Devotees are always engaged in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet, can very easily become free from the hard-knotted desires from fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and the yogis cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Therefore, every living being within the material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to the fullest satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned soul must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. One cannot stop the reputation of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami describes pure bhakti as follows. Ayabilasita sunyam gyanakarmana vitam anukulena Krishna silam bhakti uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unless one is completely free from all material desires, which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, who killed Hiranyakashipu, the personification of material desire. Hiranya means gold and Kashipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic persons always desire to make the body comfortable, and for this they require huge amounts of gold. Thus, Hiranyakashipu was a perfect representative of materialistic life. It was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee Prahlad Maharaj until Lord Nrsimhadev killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free from material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Nrsingadev as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. Om Gyan Chimirandasya Gina Jana Salakaya Jaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Prastyatya Desatarine Panchakopa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So this is a very powerful and very heartfelt expression of devotion coming from Prahlad Maharaj, who's offering his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. He glorifies the Lord as the source of all power. And the Lord has weapons, his teeth and his nails. Both of these are very powerful. And the devotee prays as Lord Nrsingadev, as Prahlad Maharaj plays. Kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruit of activity in the material world. So desires, material desires, are considered to be demon-like because a devotee knows that material desires block the path of devotional service. And therefore, just like demons interfere with one's life by causing difficulties and make Krishna consciousness difficult, although they can't stop it, they still cause disturbance. So the same way these material desires are compared to demons. They situated within the heart, and therefore Prahlad Maharaj says, please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance. So ignorance is the cause of suffering. Ignorance is to think that material life can give happiness, and the desires that we cultivate in order to fulfill that desire for happiness these are called demon-like desires. They're demons, and therefore who can kill the demons? Lord Nrsingadev. We cannot overcome our own material desires by our own efforts. We can desire to be free from them, but we cannot overcome them only by the mercy of the Lord. And in this prayer, we find here's where the mercy is available. So praying like praying like Prahlad Maharaj says, kindly vanquish these desires for fruit of activity. Fruit of activity means I perform an activity, I want to get some benefit from that activity. Devotional service is free from fruit of activity because it's meant, as the verse is mentioned later on in the purport, to serve the Lord. The service of the Lord is free from all desires for personal gain. It's meant to give pleasure to the Lord. So that is devotional service. Just like when we do something where sometimes we want to give pleasure to someone we love or someone we want to please. And so we perform the activity, hoping and praying that the person will be benefited by the activity we perform. So in the same way, that's how we perform act. We want to please Krishna. We want to make him happy by our efforts to please him. And therefore, the effort to please him is bhakti itself. But in the material world, people perform activities for their own interest or for the extended interest of family, society, country, and other extensions of the bodily conception of life that surround the living entity continuously. And these desires are caused by ignorance. Why ignorance of our actual identity? Our identity is that we are Jiva Sarup by Krishna and Nityadas. We are eternally loving souls who have a unbroken relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead based on service and devotion. And Prahlad Maharaj is praying to reveal and to awaken that natural love for Krishna by destroying those things which come in the way of that desire. What is that? Fruit of activities. And then he also prays, and we, by your mercy, may we become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So one of the characteristics that permeates material atmosphere is fear. Fear is a very constant element of life, and to whatever degree it's there, it causes persons to become confused about how to live life. In other words, fear overshadows any intelligence and makes one, it gives one a very myopic or very limited view of life. And therefore, he's praying for fearlessness. Fearlessness means can only be attained when one becomes completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. When one remembers the Lord, takes shelter of the Lord, then one can develop fearlessness or freedom from fear. Freedom from fear means that there are so many elements in this world that can cause us fear. One of the major causes of death within the last 2 years during this pandemic was fear. Many persons died simply out of fear, although there was no other cause of death. Because the media likes to cause fear into the hearts of those who listen to it, and therefore creating these fear aspects, people don't know what to do or what not to do, and they live in a very limited consciousness. So one has to be free from fear by taking shelter of the Lord. And that fearlessness helps one to live in this world and go ultimately gain progress on the path of devotional service. So these desires sit in the heart of the living entity, and they're like demons. Again, it's synonymous with the word demon because material desires and demons are non-different, because both of them block one's path to the supreme goal of life, which is transcendental love and service to the Lord. And so this is a beautiful prayer, and as Prabhupada ends the purport here, he says we should also offer this prayer to Lord Nrsingadeva, and that way be free from all of the anxieties, difficulties, and fear that is so much concomitant, or what we say, characteristic of living in the material world. And what is the ultimate fear? That has been explained so many different ways. The ultimate fear is the fear of losing one's material body. In other words, we call it death, but what it actually is cessation of the material body. And we see in the world there are so many ways that death can come upon you, especially with this new, modern, sophisticated, so-called advanced civilization. We've accelerated the process of death, or we've created more and more ways by which one can die. There were generally people would die either through disease or through various types of wars in the past, but now you can die in so many different ways. You can die simply by eating the wrong food. It's so bad. You can die by listening to people giving you medical advice that causes you to die. One of the biggest causes of death is the treatment that people undergo in hospitals when they come into the hospital for a certain disease or ailment, it says that 97% of people who die in hospitals die from the cure rather than to the disease. So we see that the medical society is incompetent, and therefore it cannot really give one any benefit. So I'm just using these as an example to help us understand that. And you can die in car accidents nowadays, plane crashes, so many things. There's so many ways, but one doesn't have to worry about all of these things. One has to simply take Shakti. That's all. It's that simple, and it's that easy, and it's completely effective because Krishna says, "Kuntiya pradijani name bhakta pranashiti." He protects his devotees, and especially as Lord Nrsingadev. Lord Nrsingadev is equipped with his devotee care. He simply comes to give protection to the devotees. And here it's mentioned, not only does he give protection, but those things that block our path in devotional service, fruitive activities, desires for fruitive activities, he enters the heart, and with his nails, he uproots these demons, just like when Lord Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, he put him on a lap and then just ripped out his heart. And therefore, he performed the perfect operation. The operation was successful. The patient died. So that's this mercy coming from this very powerful incarnation of the Lord, who is very kind to his devotees. We see there are many pictures of how Nrsingadev showed so much kindness and affection for his devotee Prahlad Maharaj after he had killed his father. It's very deep, very intimate, and very sweet to see how the Lord actually was so loving. Although in a very fierce form, he was showing so much love for his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, and that's the Lord. And so this particular verse and purport, and it says that non-devotees, especially jnanis and the yogis, they cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try. Why? Because they fail to take the medicine. The medicine is the lotus feet of the Lord. And as Prabhupada says, the hard knot of desires for fruitive activities are destroyed easily when one takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So we are unable by our own efforts to purify ourselves, but we can make the effort by following very carefully the instructions of the spiritual master and learning how to apply those instructions in our day-to-day life. And by our efforts and our sincere desire to move to serve the Lord, Krishna enters into the heart. He's already situated in the heart, and he cleanses material desires from the heart automatically when the devotee becomes fixed in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Now, this is Krishna. He does the work. All we have to do is make the effort. But if our desire is not there, then the effort will be very weak. So the idea in Krishna consciousness, the success that develops, is to strengthen one's desire for attaining the lotus feet of the Lord. And that element of strength comes by sadhu sangha, by association with advanced devotees. Through that association, we develop a mood of devotion which is similar to these great souls. And then we apply, as that mood develops, our desire becomes stronger. As our desire becomes stronger, our activities parallel that desire, and we want to hear and chant the Lord's mercy more, and we want to associate with devotees more and more and more. We look forward to serving and associating with devotees. Okay, go down to purport a little bit and let's see what else is being read here.
Guru Maharaj, this one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So Prabhupada goes to explain what is the nature of the materialist. They always looking for material comforts and material possessions. They want a comfortable life and they want a lot of wealth to support that comfortable life by enjoying the senses as much as possible. But in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that the senses cannot be sources of pleasure because they lead to suffering ultimately. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter, it is said that an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which come by way of the contact with the senses and the objects. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and one who is truly wise does not take part in such activities. So you might say, well, in devotional service, we also use our senses and we find satisfaction in that, yes. But then these are the spiritual senses that are being aroused gradually, are being awakened by devotional service. And that satisfaction is not like this, like the so-called pleasure that comes by way of the material arrangement. It's a satisfaction that reaches both the mind and the heart, and not simply the senses become stimulated by some sense object. It is much deeper and more long-term. So, so the devotee, the non-devotees, they can't stop material desires by their efforts because they have, although they try to stop their own suffering, and they make many elaborate plans to do that. In fact, that goes on constantly, but they still are always going. So you might reflect. People have so many plans, so many ideas, and so many programs to be happy in this world, but yet everyone is suffering. Everyone is still undergoing much tribulation. Why? It's like I'll give you an example, a little antidote. One man, he's looking on the ground, and he's looking and looking and looking, and his friend comes along and says, "Oh, my dear friend, what are you looking for?" He said, "Well, I lost some money, and I'm looking for it." "Oh, all right, I'll help you look." So his friend joins him. After some time, the friend says, "Are you sure you lost the money here?" He says, "No, I lost it on the other end of this road here, but there's more light here. Therefore, I'm looking here." So that's the story of the materialist. That what they can see is they think is the reality of existence. And unfortunately, what is hidden is actually the reality, and that is our spiritual treasure. It's called Gupta. Gupta means hidden. And something that is both a treasure and it's hidden is our natural loving relationship with Krishna. It remains hidden within our own hearts. But the story of life, or at least the wrong story of life, is that the non-devotees, those who are ignorant, looking outwardly for something that is existing inwardly, as the man who's looking for his lost money is looking where the light is, but not where the money actually is. So therefore, they cannot find happiness because they're looking in the wrong place. But devotees know through chanting, dancing, taking prasadam, associating and serving with other devotees, hearing the philosophical teachings that glorify the Lord and his pure devotees, and performing some practical activity in devotional life. All of these activities awaken and expand one's natural loving relationship with the Lord, and one experiences satisfaction and real happiness. So this is where that treasure lies. It lies, and therefore Prahlad Maharaj plays, please enter into our hearts and destroy these demon-like desires, because you are equipped. You have Rajanaka and Rajadamstra. You have fierce nails and fierce teeth. And in order to get rid of these desires, a very strong application of cure must be applied. And Lord Nrsingadeva is fully equipped with that cure. That is his mercy. And therefore the devotees pray in the same way here. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. Namasringhaya Teja Tejase Avir Avirbhava Rajanaka Rajatamstra Karmasayan Radhya Radhya Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Bhuyasta Om Shram. So we should learn this prayer and regularly recite this prayer, and then by that desire to be purified, the Lord will give whatever is needed to elevate his devotee and protect him from the onslaughts of material life. Okay, open it up for questions. Dr. Vatsal.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
I sent you something for printing.
Before I come.
I need it for tomorrow's class. It's about 22 pages though. Please use the color ink because it's a color. Yeah.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for this beautiful class. By powerful prayers by Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Nrsingadev, how to awaken our natural love to Krishna, the hidden treasure which is inside us, and become fearless and engage in a pure devotional service. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, again for the beautiful, beautiful class. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, I would request you can chat. You can type in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. I see already devotees raising their hand. But before that, I would like to request devotees if you can turn on questions or comments. Yeah, so thank you. Okay, Devanand Pandit Prabhuji, please go ahead. I see your hand raised.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Vaishnavas, all glories to dear Guru Maharaj. For my part, I want to confirm the power of this mantra, and also thank you, dear Guru Maharaj, for instructing me to chant this mantra in times of danger. And during the rocket attacks, I constantly chanted this mantra along with my wife. As you know, now my family are in the safe place. Me too. One case I would like to mention in particular. One day when I was at the temple and I was preparing Hoga for the Fruitful Life program along with one devotee, the bombing started. There was no bomb shelter nearby and we decided to keep making Hoga. I kept repeating this mantra constantly. One very large bomb fell very close to the temple, and this bomb did not explode. Thank you again for this mantra, Guru Maharaj. And I have the question. The question is, we know 12 Mahajans who are authorities in Vishnu Dharma. By the way, 2 of them are demons. Who is the Mahajan for demons? That is the main authority in the demonic dharma. And what is the main demonic shastra? Thank you.
Then the leader of the demons is Sukracharya. You see him in the pastime of, Bali Maharaj and Vamana Day. So it's mentioned he's the demon, he is the guru of the demons, Sukracharya. What was the other part of your question?
What is the main demonic shastra?
Main demoniac shastra. Well, these things are created by the same people who follow them. Shastra really refers to the words of the Lord and the Lord's pure devotees. Demons have comprised their own written materials by which they follow, but I don't know if we can call it Shastra. In fact, I don't think we can call it Shastra. Shastra actually refers to that which gives direction. Shast means to give or to instruct. I don't know of any demoniac shastra. I'm sorry, it's not one of my areas.
Thank you.
But they write their own books. You'll see they write books, and these books are just filled with desires to exploit, desires to enjoy various types of sense gratification.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So devotees, any questions or comments, realizations? I would encourage if devotees can turn on their cameras, it will be nice to see everyone on the call. Guru Maharaj, okay, Sridevi Mataji's hand raised. Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Sudha. Please accept my humble obeisances, dear Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. This beautiful prayer, Guru Maharaj, that you chanted just now, I don't know if you remember, but 3 or 4 years ago when you were here, we had all gone, I think, on one of the Navadvip Parikrama places of pilgrimage. And there in the Narasimha temple, you actually told us about this prayer and you encouraged everyone that please chant this prayer every day. It is very powerful and it will help us, removing obstacles and help us to become less fearful. So I started chanting this prayer every day from that time. And I used to be so afraid of so many things. I don't want to go into details, But now, 3 years, I don't even remember what I was afraid of. That's how powerful this prayer is. I don't even think about those things which cause me so much fear. So it's a truly very powerful prayer, and I thank you for encouraging us to say it every day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that prayer is coming from Prahlad Maharaj, who's he's a pure devotee. Not only a pure devotee, he is a Maha Bhagavat. He's on the highest platform of pure love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So Guru Maharaj, I also want to share my realizations. Even I do chant that prayer every day 11 times. When I came first to Krishna conscious, that's mantra like my mentor Lalitangi Mataji has told me. So since then I've been doing that 11 times. It's really helpful. I mean, I've seen like so many fears I had, I still have, but still I can see how they disappeared, all those fears, and I don't see those fears anymore like bother me. Yeah, it's really powerful prayer, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for sharing that. And today, like listening from you, the detailed explanation, I realized it more and more about that prayer. Thank you for sharing that, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. What can we say except that mantra is powerful when it's chanted properly. Try to chant it very clearly, pronouncing the words very clearly, and offer the prayer to the Lord as you're chanting the prayer.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. So it's very important for us to also recite it very correctly, right, Guru Maharaj?
Of course.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. And I see like in the chat box by Nasinga Leela Mataji, Guru Maharaj, I guess that the books on Mayavada philosophy are considered as demonic. Is that true?
Well, Prabhupada has also made comments, or he made not comment, he made references that the Mayavadis are influenced by demoniac elements because they say that God does not have form. So therefore he has no hands, he has no legs, he can't see, he has no eyes, he has no legs, he can't walk, he has no head, he can't think. So in a very roundabout way, they nullify the idea that God is a person by eliminating all of the senses of the Lord by saying he is without a body. So when you come right down to it, it is demoniac. Yeah, the philosophy is demoniac.
Does it clarified, Mataji? Okay, Mataji said thank you. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Devotees, any more questions you'd like to share today? Any your realizations also? Be nice to hear from you all. I see 2 participants raised. Okay, Philip Ramlal Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj, no glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj, all glories to devotees. Just a realization, Maharaj. I was actually on the way to Mangalati at the temple, and I was on the way to Mangalati at the temple in Manchester, and I was walking because my car was broken, wasn't working. But on the way, because it was so dark in the morning, I was just like afraid, but I was like reciting Nashinga prayers, and all of a sudden it was like I was just like in a bubble, I was just like protected instantly by just reciting the prayers. and all the way, you know, there's like foxes coming out of bushes and things like that. That would have frightened me. Well, I was just unaware of that, really. I was just sort of, it was just so nice. I was bouncing my way to the temple, basically, not walking, but, you know. So it's just wonderful, you know, prayers.
Well, the Lord is there. All we have to do is take shelter. So. The faithless, they don't believe. And because they're faithless, they won't perform these activities. And even if they perform them, because they're faithless, it doesn't have the same effect.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Keep bouncing your way to the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will bounce our way, and then when we get to the temple, we just bounce right at the Lord's lotus feet, and then we stop bouncing anymore.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sridevi Mataji, I see your hand raised again. You have any question?
Not really a question. As Guru Maharaj, you were speaking about, you know, how much we have advanced and there are so many ways to die now. I was thinking about just a recent report I read that a plane carrying 66 passengers, suddenly it just went off the radar and it crashed. Later on, they found out that it had crashed. When they retrieved the black box and heard, you know, the voices and all that, they found out that the pilot and the co-pilot had lit up cigarettes. Somehow the spark or something of that cigarette ignited a fire in the cockpit, which very quickly went out of control. And soon after that, the plane crashed with 66 people on board, just because 2 people lighted up a cigarette.
Yeah, that's why we say smoking kills. It's written on the package. You can read it. It's in big letters. It says smoking kills.
And it kills other people too, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Passive smoking and all the other things that go with those kind of cancers. And of course, in this case, a whole plane burned down.
Yeah, was that recent?
Yes, maybe 3 days ago, I just saw it, you know.
Yeah, there's always, the material world is full of calamities. Full of calamities. You try to stop one situation, something else comes. Krishna has arranged this material world in such a way that you cannot stay here and you cannot be happy here. The world dukalayam asasratam. It's miserable and it's temporary. But because the living entity wants happiness, because that desire is so strong, they formulate within their minds different ways by the way they can become happy. And then they pursue their plans for happiness, which are always thwarted, either immediately or in due course of time. So a devotee knows this material world is not my home. It's a place where I can perform devotional service, become elevated in my consciousness, remember Krishna, and ultimately develop our attraction for Krishna, and then go back home, back to Godhead. That's the only goal in life. Therefore, all activities are meant to bring us towards that successful achievement of love of God. So yeah, the devotees are always protected by the Lord when they take shelter of the Lord.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for the nice words. I don't see any questions. Sridhi Mataji raised. And Mataji, I see your hand raised. You have anything to share?
Yeah, if I may, Guru Maharaj, one more question, please. Guru Maharaj, why is it that the denial is so strong? Even though the materialists, their plans get thwarted, they get so many ailments, they spend a small fortune on medical pills, but why is the denial so strong that they will just stubbornly go on with their plans to go on exploiting the material energy?
Well, there's Chandidas, or I think it's Vyapati, one of the contemporary poets after Lord Chaitanya. He said that, and he writes in a beautiful prayer, it's actually a bhajan, there is happiness in the material world. But he compares the happiness to a drop of water in the desert. So if you're in a desert, you're thirsty, but if somebody gives you a drop, it doesn't help you at all. In fact, it just agitates your thirst. But they're still tracing after that drop. And what is that drop? Society, friendship, love. And what do we call that? We call that family life. Family life gives one little drop of happiness. Sometimes. People will chase after that drop and even forget about Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Krishna consciousness means to create the spiritual family. And as we develop and interact with devotees, the devotees become our family members. Because devotees are well-wishers of each other. We're family members, always trying to get something from each other. So the relationship between the spiritual family members and the material family members are completely opposite. One is based on mutual satisfaction, and the other one is based on giving happiness to another. Keeping Krishna in the center. So this family life, people are stuck in it. And they think there's something in it. We don't recommend you give up your family responsibilities, but we do recommend that you purify that family and make it Krishna conscious. Otherwise, what's the use? Why associate with non-devotees who are family members? Associate with devotees, and if you can make your non-devotee family members devotees, or at least favorable, then you can develop the spiritual principles and act in that way. A lot of times, kids come to Krishna consciousness, and because they become devotees, their parents actually become devotees following their children. Yeah, so that one drop of material happiness in this world keeps everyone going. And the so-called pleasure is sex life. Sex life. If there was no sex life in the material world, there would be no one would be doing anything. No one would go to work. No one would earn money. No one would do anything if there was no. Everyone works for that one drop of pleasure. It's called Chapala Sukala. Sukala means happiness. Chapala means flickering. Vajahure mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Dulava Manava Janama Satsange Kohoeva Sindhu Sita Aptapa Pata Parijana Vijina Damige Chapala Sukala Lagire. Chapala Sukala. That's one drop of happiness everyone's chasing after. Try to drown in the drop, but you can't drown in the drop. You can drown in an ocean, though. And then the material, Krishna consciousness is an unlimited ocean of transcendental bliss.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. I don't see any questions, Maharaj. I have one question. Can I ask that? It's about fear. Guru Maharaj, you mentioned like fear in fear arises due to material desires. So how should we handle fear in devotional service? Even in devotional service also, we have fear that we may not do the devotional service like in a perfectly or in a pure way, in a good mood. So how should we?
The scriptures talk about, there's one kind of fear that is recommended. The fear of again falling back into the material entanglement. That fear is called the healthy fear. And therefore one should act in such a way as to not again be trapped by the material energy. So one has to know, just like Prabhupada said, if you know about white, that's not enough. You have to know about black too. Both are there. Both are opposites. So if we know about Krishna devotional service, but we don't know how the material energy works or how we can avoid getting trapped by it, then we may easily fall back into it again. So learning about that helps us to overcome that danger of again falling back into the material world. But that healthy fear keeps one aware that yes, material energy is called, what is it? It's precarious. In other words, at any time, material energy can spring up and capture the living entity. So we have to be very careful. Just as we're careful when we cross the road in a busy street, it's like if you're in India and you're trying to cross the road in Bombay, you better be looking 4 different directions at once. Otherwise, you may not make it across. So in the same way, we need to be very aware that the material energy is dangerous and it can trap us again. So that kind of fear is considered to be needed. it should be adopted. That's all. The fear of again falling back into material entanglement.
Okay, very much. Thank you, Guru. So it's a constant alert on us so that we don't fall down.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Because sometimes if the fear is like it's too much, like we always have that fear in the. So is that also okay, like to have that continuous fear, or like?
If you remember Krishna, there's no fear. But if you're not remembering Krishna, then you'll be remembering something else, which may cause fear. Just remember Krishna.
Okay, very much. Yeah. Thank
And you might say, well, that sounds too easy, but it's not. It's something you have to practice. You have to practice remembering Krishna.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. And these daily calls and reading scriptures really helps us to bring us back to the mood where we can keep checking our fears and our consciousness.
Yeah, that's what sadhu sangha is about.
Yes, Guru.
Awakening our awareness of Krishna, of devotional service, of the dangers of material life.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Devotees, any more last minute questions or clarifications for Guru Maharaj? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj. Maharaj, one of my youth students, if I could ask a question that a youth student had, it's unrelated to the class. I just wanted to get your voice on this and see if there was any Shastric reference you could tie to this. A younger.
Well, we lost.
Yeah, we lost your voice. You're on mute, Prabhuji. You want to unmute?
Oh, Hare Krishna. I had a young female devotee in my youth class ask me a question, Maharaj, and she just wanted to see if there was any sort of Shastric reference to it. She was asking why there was some depictions of Mahaprabhu without his arms raised up in the air, and instead with his hands, more so at his sides with his palms facing up. I tried to give my own, sort of, sentimental reasons as to why Mahaprabhu has his hands like that, but she just was looking for more, and I said that I would ask you. So I'm here as your servant.
Generally, the deity of Mahaprabhu has three different poses. The arms straight up as they're dancing, and then the second pose is one arm is raised and the other arm is down, and their feet are also in the dancing position. That means they're dancing in ecstasy. And the last one, which you mentioned, when the arm palms straight up, that means they're given complete mercy. So in the area of Navadvip, there's a place called what is it? Koladweep, I think it's called Koladweep. And on the island of Koladweep, there is one deity called Dameshwara Mahadev. And that deity has his arms straight out with his palms raised. And that deity was carved by one devotee under the guidance of Lord Chaitanya before Lord Chaitanya left the planet to give that deity to his wife, Vishnu Priya, so she could worship him in that deity form after he disappeared from the marriage, actually, when he left his wife. So that means, and it's explained, that means that the Lord is giving full mercy. It's a rare form, you see. It's not so common, that particular deity. But so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that mood is extending full mercy to those who take shelter.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, that's what I told this young devotee, so I'm happy to say that I'll be able to say, Candramauli Maharaj she thinks highly of you. It's a devotee from Harrisburg, so she was excited for me to get, word from you. So
yeah, there's, if you can find, it's, just do a little research. Dameshwara Mahadev. No, I mean Dameshwar Mahaprabhu, not Mahadev. That's Dameshwar Mahaprabhu is the deity that is popular for that particular, form.
I found that, Maharaj. I will definitely be looking into that and discussing that more with the youth.
Nice question. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Tell your friend at class that she asked a very good question.
It was Shaki, Mother Anasuya's daughter, actually.
Vishaka. Oh, Rinda?
No, Vishaka, the younger one, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. She's very inquisitive.
Okay, thank you.
Nice. So
Guru Maharaj, I don't see any questions. It's 1 hour, 12 minutes. So should we end the call with an announcement today? I'll go ahead and announce that, Guru Maharaj. So I would like to announce before I end the call here. So Hare Krishna devotees, as we all know, the UK retreat on June 24 to 27th